My good friend Simon Brentford's joined us on Air Sports News. How are you, pal?
I'm not too bad. Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me to this interview.
It's a pleasure. It's hot here in Montreal. It's meant to be turning into autumn, so I'm probably going to start dripping as we go through it. Where are you? Where are you, Simon?
I am currently sat in my house in not so sunny, not so hot Leeds right now. Just finished a day of work, and you've invited me here.
I have. You just had were you there at the weekend at Hibblestone for the big way stuff?
I was, yes. It was a really fun event. This is my third time doing it. I was asked by Leslie Gale to organise a pool of camera people to help film the events, film the big waves, which started off as single planes and then eventually worked their way up to 3 planes. That's always exciting, especially if you're a 4-way or 8-way cameraman who rarely does big waves, and then you get this one opportunity to do it. It's always a really exciting thing to have a go at.
It looked great weather. It looked like everybody was having a fantastic time.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the level of the jumpy community there was like an intermediate level. So there was a lot of people who'd done it before, but also a lot of people who really were trying to improve their personal skills and push their boundaries. So from that point of view, it's a really exciting place to be, and seeing the joy on their faces as they do their first 3-plane formation or make it down to a formation in the first place.
Yeah. Well, let me say congratulations, NFTO, not for the ordinary, 4-way team, champions, British nationals again.
Well, yes, thank you. We had a bit of a close shave, I think, this time. 10 rounds, we were same points, and we had to do a jump off, which is pretty rare. I don't think it's happened in AAA.
Yeah, I don't know.
I certainly haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And then we did the jump off, and when I landed from that, and I think the girls thought as well, oh no, we've blown it, we've lost it, we haven't done a very good round. And then it came up on the TV screens, and the atmosphere was absolutely electric at Skydive Hibblestone when it happened. Yeah. And I watched the TV screens and I thought, oh my goodness, yeah, no, this has confirmed it. I really have blown it. But then the scores came in from the judges, and again, it was even. And I thought, okay, so I don't know the obscure minority rule. What is it? Is it first round, or is it the highest number of points? And that's how it, in the British system, that's how it went. It went on the single highest round, where we did a 32-pointer on one of the rounds, round 7, I think, and that won the meet. Yeah, I'm never going to forget it. There's been a lot of competitions since I've started competing. I'm never going to forget it. And you know, hands down to Chimera and to my NFTO girls for giving a really exciting experience.
There was an iconic photograph came up online of Laura and Chris and the rest of Chimera must have been during the live scoring, and see the look in the face that, as somebody quoted an event I was at just recently, they just got beat at the top, and they said, that's sport. That's sport, eh? That's why we do it. But to see that passion in somebody's face, you think,
wow. And I know their pain as well. Many years ago, I was on a team called Quest, and I remember losing. You remember that? Yeah. We were an intermediate team, and we won it. We lost it on a single jump. And we got down, and we just knew in our hearts we just messed up. We landed at something called Old Block 13 called Hammer.
Yeah.
And we landed the central piece on one of these solo flyers. And that was it. We dropped 7 or 8 points in a single go, and that was it. And we trained really hard and put every spare penny we had at that time. And we lost it. So I know what it's like. It's hard and it's horrible.
Yeah, I've been there as well. I wasn't the best loser at all. I didn't like it. I remember somebody once saying about 4-way, FS, and I'm sure it's the same for all air sports, but they said, how much does it cost? How much does it cost to be a champion? And one of the top, it might have been Dan BC, I don't know, he said it costs everything.
Yes, I would agree. And it's not just monetary cost, it's cost in investment in your emotions, your time, your energy, You're sacrificing a lot of things. Sometimes you're sacrificing other friendships that you can only see out of a competition season. So I think he's probably right. Yes.
Family stuff, birthdays, nieces
Yeah.
and nephews, all that type of thing that you miss. Yeah.
So,
So
but it is worth it. It is worth it. I'll say one more thing. I remember my father saying, sometimes I think you're a bit too obsessive about this skydiving business. And I went, yeah, you're right. How am I supposed to be a champion or a winner without being obsessive and passionate about it?
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? When did you start, Simon? What year was it?
Gosh, 1893. No, sorry, 1993.
I've just had my
27 years, something
27.
like that.
I've just had my 31st anniversary. It was the 9th of the 9th, 1990. So 31 years.
Many congratulations.
Thank you. So let's talk about Russia. You should have been in Russia. I should have been in Russia. And COVID, bloody hell. Yeah.
Yes, I should have been in Russia with the NFTO girls, with Chimera as well, and a great many other hard-working, hard-training sports people. But that didn't happen. That was really, really hard because at the time, and it may still come to pass, that may be my last chance at taking a gold medal. So at world level before, I've taken a bronze with my lovely wife, Annie. I've taken 2 silvers, but I've never got the gold. And that's what I've really been working towards. And so when it was announced by our governing body, British Skydiving, that it was going to be too hard to send us, the logistics were too complicated, well, that broke my heart, and a great deal many others. And then I was left with just the British Championship. Well, just the British Championship is still an amazing thing, and still something I feel very proud of doing. Yeah. But Russia has gone, and that was very sad. And we were comparing, we did some of the mock jumps, and we compared them, and most of our jumps were really, really favorable to the other 2 teams. So I think under the right circumstances, we would have brought the competition to them.
Right. Amazing stuff. It's so frustrating though, isn't it? You know, if you break your leg or if you have an accident and you can't go, that's one thing. But when it's kind of taken away from you, I know there's a lot more. You know, we have to put COVID into context of people who've lost their lives and livelihoods and things, but just in our little world of air sports and skydiving, you know, to have it taken away from you like that, it's devastating.
Yes, in our little bubble, it means a lot to represent your country, to go and do something that you feel passionate about and that you're reasonably good at. That's a big thing. But again, you're right. Also, if you compare it to what's happening around the world with COVID or Afghanistan, then really it is pretty insignificant speck on the world.
Yeah. So 1993, you went to jump out of a plane. Why did you do that?
Oh, right. Okay. So I just started university. I joined the climbing club. That was my real passion back then. I'd grown up with climbing with my family. And then I spotted this parachute club as well. This guy called JP Reynard, who I hope will watch this interview. And he introduced himself as president of Leeds Metropolitan University Parachute Club. He had 2 round static line jumps at that point. Anyway, he said, come on, blow some money with us. Let's go do a static line round. I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And I can honestly say that after I made my first round parachute jump, I knew that it was going to change my life, that I was going to want to do it forever, because it ticked every box in terms of the sport itself, the places you got to go, and the people you get to meet, and the amazing variety of personalities and backgrounds. It's just such a leveler. Once you're in the sky, it doesn't matter where you're from or what you do. You're just a skydiver in the sky.
Yeah. Was that Doncaster or was it Hibblestone back then?
No, it just moved to Hibblestone. Yeah, I remember doing early jumps with you there as well.
Yeah, and I think one of my very first boogies was with you in Karlovy.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes. And I remember that because we were all doing shots one night in some big castle, and you were faking the drinks, weren't you?
I don't know.
Little tumblers of water, and I was drinking neat schnapps or vodka or whatever nasty alcohol it was. And you got me really quite battered by the end of the evening, and the rest of you were perfectly fine.
There was some amazing. we can't talk about everything that happened there, but my God, there was a lot of good things happened during that event.
It was, yeah, it was one of Pete Marsden's boogies. And
Yeah.
I then went on and did an event in Russia as well. So I've been to Russia a few times, and I did some jumps in, I think it was in St. Petersburg.
We were there together on that.
Yeah, yes. Staying at some really dodgy, nasty hotel and jumping out of some various jets. Yes. Yeah, they were fun times.
And did you do the static line round?
No, I didn't. Since I'm also a base jumper, and I have done a lot of low static lines, never around. But I did see your video, the one that you shot of somebody having a partial streamer, the parachute popping open at the last moment on some dodgy silk round parachute. Don't know how old it was, and then you went out last.
Yes. So, I mean, we were drinking champagne in the Antonov in the AN2. They had this big bottle of champagne they were passing round. We're wearing this Russian military equipment. Like I said, no idea if there was a parachute in there. But out the door he went at 300 feet. Just crazy stuff what you do. That's
ridiculous. You flew a jet as well, I believe.
Yeah, the L-39. Yeah. Well, we were sat in it. I don't know if we really were doing anything or whether it was more like a Fisher-Price pretend. But it was good fun.
It was pretty amazing as well.
So base jumping, how did that start for you?
Well, at the time I did my first base jump in 2000, but I'd wanted to do it for maybe 2 or 3 years before then. At that time, base jumping really was quite a secretive movement in the UK. I can say that at least. So getting into it, you had to gain the trust of various people and be shown that you weren't an idiot, that you could do it without blabbing. And so eventually I jumped this well-known bridge north of Manchester, which a lot of people did on some old condemned skydiving gear. I think I was jumping a Pegasus or a Fury that had been deemed no longer airworthy for skydiving.
Was that Whale? Was that Whale Bridge?
The Whale Bridge. Did you do it?
I didn't. I was too scared to base jump. I can't do that.
Yeah. But after I did my first bridge jump into water, I mean, it wasn't a particularly hard thing to do. You landed in the water and there's a guy waiting for you, swimming there to help you ashore. I booked a course in Norway at a well-known cliff called Sherag. And from the moment I went there, I knew I wanted to get into it, bought my first rig and started base jumping. And then I came back to the UK. And at that time where I lived, Yorkshire, there was only 1 or 2 other jumpers, and very few of the objects that are there now had even been done. So it really was a baptism by fire. You had to work it out all by yourself with very little other knowledge to call upon.
Yeah. And it's really become quite mainstream now, you know, it's out there.
Yes. And it's become mainstream, it's become controversial. It's opened up so many different avenues of jumping. Like I think there's over 150 UK cliffs that are jumpable these days that have been listed and recorded. So there's a lot of new opportunities, and there's a lot of really great base courses out there for people to take. And where it was very difficult when I started to get into base jumping, it's actually very, very easy to get into base jumping now. And with that comes its own risk that if it's too easy, then do you have the right preparatory skills ready to take you there safely?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very good point indeed. And what about the whole kind of espionage feel of it as it used to be? Was that a big part of it for you, that kind of sneaking around?
Yeah. Yes and no. Well, if you're jumping a cliff, there's not really that much in the way of espionage. But if you're jumping some building in a city centre, then definitely, and for the large part, that is still very much the case. Because there's now a new community of people called urban explorers, and they're doing these building visits as well. And what they're doing instead is putting all their photos and videos online. So the knock-on effect of that has been that a lot more security, a lot more alarms, a lot more personnel have been put in place. So the espionage factor is still very much there.
Yeah. Are you still current with base jumping, Simon?
Yes, I still love base jumping. I still do it as much as I possibly can. And there's still many things. Like I've got this list of things that I want to do. And well, the list just keeps getting longer. I'm never going to get it all.
Yeah. And do you take to it as quick as you did to skydiving? I think you said already you knew straight away once you did whale, you wanted to go and get a course.
Yes.
Was there ever a point where you thought it's not for me, or did you always know
yes.
you wanted to be carrying on?
Yeah, I did take to it quickly. I knew from the when I went to Sharag that I was going to get into it and try as many different things and parts of the sport as I can. So I got into wingsuit base jumping, and that's like an entirely different sport in its own right. Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does indeed. It does. It's just for me, it's quite fascinating because I've never really had it front of mind and made a yes or no decision, but I've never pushed for it or put myself in a situation for it. And I think that tells me that it's not what I want to be doing, really.
I think you have to want it.
Yeah.
There have been times when I haven't wanted it and I've wanted to give up. And I think there's been 3 occasions. They've all been closely tied with losing friends of mine. Right. So there's something called the base fatality list, and I probably know a good 35 people on that list over the 20 years I've been jumping. But most of those were acquaintances, and only a few of those have been what I would call close friends that I've spent a lot of time with. And that really hits home. When you lose them, then I've kind of backed off the sport for a few months, but I've always returned and wanted to carry on. I think that being safe in base jumping is about being prepared to say no foremost. Right. So either no because you haven't got the right skills, no because you're not feeling it that night and you're scared, or that day, whatever. And no, because you identify that you don't have the skills to do it. And that's really how you are able to stay in the sport long term.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about filming four-way, for instance, filming competition jumps. Well, not just competition jumps, but getting somebody who's, getting themselves up there, they want to start filming. I remember the first time I tried to film a group of people, I thought I was with them, and I look at the video and they were like this little tiny dot in the screen somewhere. When you first start, you're a lot further away than you think you are, aren't you?
Absolutely, yes. Well, with most video cameras, you can choose what zoom setting you have. Yeah. So if you've got a very still head and a very tightly configured ring sight, you can be far away. But generally speaking, you really do want to have your video footage set wide, so that when you're filming a team and you go off the door, you're capturing all the grips in shot within that first split second, especially if it's a team you're filming that are half decent. So it is hard to get into filming and get your footage consistent quickly, and that's probably because if you're starting to film, say, a rookie, a single A, or even a double A class team, you may only be doing 50 or 100 skydives in a year. Yeah. So you're not going to practice all the exits a bunch of times, and the team are not going to have that consistency in their performance, I should say, in their own jumping, so that everything becomes predictable.
When did the move to camera come to you? When did you decide to do that?
So I won the British Championships as a point flyer in the AAA with a team with John Goodyear, Christian Hinchliffe, John McIver, Steve Hamilton. We were called the Wizards. Yeah. And that was 2004. Then 2005, well, I'd kind of run out of money. So I thought, well, I still want to have a go at this. Let's see if camera's any fun. And to my surprise, I hadn't done any camera. And to my surprise, the camera work was just as much fun. And I realized that it's more than just sticking your head over a formation. There's great subtleties in providing average footage and good footage. And ever since then, I've just kept pursuing it, kept on looking for improvements, and mostly just kept on being passionate about it.
What was your can you remember your team progression with the camera, who you were with up to?
So the year after I won Wizards, I filmed them the second season, and then after that the team disbanded, and I filmed a number of other teams. I've met my lovely wife Annie at this point. She was a Brazilian skydiver who came to the UK. And I kind of filmed teams in different categories with her until eventually she got invited on a team called ISIS. Great name, I know, but ISIS changed their names and they became NFTO, not for the ordinary. And at that point, I think that was 2015 when I started filming them, taking over from Nigel Holland. That's when my camera work really started to take off, when I was getting to do 300-400 skydives per year, every year. And I've been with them ever since, developing some really close lifelong friendships, I think.
Yeah. Do you get any questions or give any advice to up and coming camera people? Do you do any kind of seminars or anything like that?
Yeah, so I've done the odd seminar at British Skydiving annual general meetings. I've done some Zoom seminars. I've written a fair number of articles, but my preference is to train people one-on-one. And that's because every camera person who gets good at it doesn't have the same style. People have their own way of filming. So you have to look and see, what are they good at? What do they see? What are they able to do? And quite often they'll come to me and say, hey, Simon, can you help me out? Or I'm just getting into it, or I'm having a problem. And then I'll try and look at their footage and I'll ask their questions like, what's going through their mind? What are they scared of? Or how are they setting up on the door or in freefall? And it's from there that you can coach and help them. But it's very hard to put that into a book or as a single confined manual on how skydiving camera work should be.
Yeah, I remember watching two camera flyers who were both arguing about whether on the step, if it's the front foot is a left foot or the front foot's a right foot.
Yes, yeah. That argument remains, I think, Regan.
Yeah.
And then there's people who do peel exits and people who do lead exits, and somewhere in between, there's a multitude of different ways of doing it, which always makes it a lot of fun.
It is.
Regan, when are you next going to have a go at camera work?
With camera? Well, that's a good question, actually. My last, what you would call camera jump, was when we were in the Maldives, just before COVID. My lovely Lise, who is an ex-skydiver, she did about 800 jumps, I think, before she quit. Anyway, she decided she wanted to do a tandem over the beautiful Maldives. So Bruno was a camera guy, but I was there as well. So Bruno was going front float, and I'm on the camera step thinking, "What? Don't mess this up. Don't land on them." Anyway, I didn't land on them, and Bruno's right there. You can see Lee. She's like looking for me, like, "Where's Regan?" And I'm like, gently. I was there within about 5 or 6 seconds, but I didn't want to kind of rush past.
Did you get there before break off then?
Yeah, just about. No, I was there about 5 or 6 seconds. It felt like a long time in free fall. But,
well done, Regan. There's a future for you yet.
And what about you? What's happening next, Simon? What's your going into time?
That is a very good question. And with the NFTO camera work that I've been doing it for a long time. You either sign up for 1 year or 2 year plan, but with COVID, it's been extending itself year by year. So there's a World Championships next year, and the honest answer is, at the moment, I don't know. I think after every national championships or every world meet, it's customary to have a block of time, maybe a month or so, where you see where your heart is, your motivation is, what you want to do with your next year or 2 years. And so the NFTO team is very much in that place right now, deciding what NFTO wants to do. So I can't really speak for anybody else. I can only speak for myself. I would like to give it another go. And it's going to be in Eloy next year. And that's America's always a lot of fun, and Eloy is always a lot of fun. So I would like to go, but that's very much dependent on a heck of a lot of variables. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, Simon, on that, I think that's a good place to leave it. It's been it's good to see you. It's good to see you.
As always, Regan.
Yeah.
Will I be seeing you in Eloy?
Well, hopefully.
I go.
At the moment, as it stands, we're not allowed. Brits are not allowed into America from Canada. So if everything becomes good and the door is open and they decide they want a a British MC there. We shall see.
I've seen you emceeing many a time at skydiving events, indoor and outdoor, and I think you do a great job.
Thank you very much, pal. Really appreciate it. Enjoy your lovely evening in Leeds.
Thank you very much, Regan.
And we'll speak again. Take care, buddy.
Cheers.